This election was a fraud. Just so you understand, this election was a fraud.
They cheated and they rigged our presidential election, but we will still win it.
4 days after the electors met across the country and made Joe Biden the president-elect, Donald Trump was still trying to find a way to hang on to the presidency.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
I hope Mike is going to do the right thing. I hope so. I hope so.
President Trump summoned the mob, assembled the mob, and lit the flame of this attack.
January 6, 2021, the U.S. found itself in crisis. A defeated presidential candidate and his inner circle refused to accept the election result and looked for ways to subvert it. And a mob attacked the Capitol right here to try to stop certification of the vote. Now the U.S. is reckoning with what happened and who might be held accountable. The January 6th committee has been a carefully orchestrated production presenting significant testimony and revelations. The committee members say their findings already reveal a chain of responsibility leading all the way to President Trump via some very senior Republicans and some very well-known advisors. We want to dive into the committee's main findings with the help of two constitutional law experts. But first, this is what the committee set out to show. That President Trump and his inner circle knew the election was not stolen, that he and his team actively tried to overturn the election, and that the former president and his team intentionally incited the attacking of the Capitol on January 6th. Let's start with point one, that President Trump and his closest aides knew the election was not stolen.
Told the president in no uncertain terms that I did not see evidence of fraud, and that would have affected the outcome of the election.
Particularly after the Attorney General had reached the conclusion that there wasn't sufficient election fraud to change the outcome of the election, when other people kept suggesting that there was, the answer is, what is it? Where is the evidence?
He said, we've got lots of theories, we just don't have the evidence.
Corrupt intent may mean you know that you're doing something illegal. So first there's the question, did he know that the election was not stolen and then go ahead to lie about it? But then the period between the Electoral College vote and January 6th, Trump took a very large number of actions to try to overturn the results of the election and remain illegally in office.
And that brings us to the second point, trying to overturn the election. The committee laid out evidence that President Trump and his people had pressured officials in states like Georgia and even the vice president to overturn the election. And committee members said he even had plans to subvert the result well before January 6th.
There were no votes to find. That was an accurate count that had been certified.
How did the president respond to that, sir?
He responded very quickly and said, essentially, that's not what I'm asking you to do. What I'm just asking you to do is just say it was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman.
And so to be clear, did you hear the White House counsel's office say that this plan to have alternate electors meet and cast votes for Donald Trump in states that he had lost was not legally sound?
Yes, sir.
As you can see here, this proposed order directs the Secretary of Defense to seize voting machines, quote, effective immediately.
Every juncture, lawyers told him, this is illegal, or you cannot do that. And so it doesn't matter what his motive was. That doesn't entitle you to commit crimes.
And the final point, that President Trump incited the violent storm on the Capitol.
I overheard the president say something to the effect of, I don't effing care that they have weapons. They're not here to hurt me. Let my people in. They can march to the Capitol from here.
So why'd you decide to march to the Capitol?
Well, basically, the president, got everybody riled up, told everybody to head on down. So we basically were just following what he said.
Do you know if he asked anybody to reach out to any of those that we just listed off? National Guard, DOD, FBI, Homeland Security, Secret Service, Mayor Bowser, the Capitol Police, about the situation in the Capitol?
I am not aware of any of those requests.
He understood that there was likely to be violence, and is part of the criminal charge of incitement. The likelihood of violence resulting right away or in close proximity to the comments is one of the constitutional requirements.
Important findings, but does it matter? Most Republicans have called these hearings a witch hunt and political theater. And President Trump has said if he's reelected, he would undo any legal action taken against his people.
And if I become president someday, if I decide to do it, I will be looking at them very, very seriously for pardons. Very, very seriously.
That depends on if he's able to run again. His future could depend very much upon what comes out of these hearings. Committee members are already calling on the Justice Department to prosecute people in his inner circle, and maybe even the president himself. And a conviction would stop him from running again. Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, will be the one to decide whether to prosecute. And it will be a difficult decision, according to law expert William C. Banks.
There's a question that he has to confront if he should choose to indict former President Trump or someone in his inner circle. What will he be perceived as being partial, as being politically motivated in his decision to seek an indictment of the former President of the United States?
And the second and perhaps most important consideration, would the prosecution have a strong enough case?
They have to have evidence that will stand up during cross-examination and that will prove criminal charges in our system in the United States, as you know, beyond a reasonable doubt. The criminal standard is really quite demanding. It's not a preponderance of the evidence. It's not more likely than not. It's beyond a reasonable doubt.
The committee will submit its final report soon. It will summarize hours upon hours of testimony and lay out what could be damning evidence if anyone ever ends up in court.